Okay, guys, today we're going to start Chapter 7. I know Chapter 7, we're going to learn how to take word phrases and use those word phrases to write equations. And it's probably, one of the most important skills that you guys are going to learn in mathematics. We want to be able to represent real-world problems using mathematics. In order to be able to do that, we want to be able to write an equations in one variable and solve equations, solve one-step equations. So I'm actually going to try to put two lessons together here at the same time. So let's go one step at a time here. First, the vocabulary you're going to need to know. An equation is a mathematical sentence that uses an equal sign. It shows that two expressions are equal. And that's hugely important, the idea that two expressions are equivalent. Okay? Some key words to look for is, the same as, or equals. They determine where that equal sign is going to be when we're writing an equation or the word problem. Okay? Our first example. I see the word sum. I see the word sum, and the word sum means we're going to add. Okay. The word a number. The number is going to be represented by our variable. Okay, and we're going to use the number 7 and 15. So that's all the information we're going to need to write our equation. Okay, we know the operation is going to be addition because of the word sum. So the sum of a number n, here's the sum of a number and 7 is 15. All right, so if I'm just writing the equation, that's what it's going to look like. All right, we have a variable, we have an operation, we have an equal sign. Equations have equal signs, and I can't stress that enough. When we're writing equations, we have equal signs, and you guys know from all year me preaching it, expressions have no equal signs. Okay? If we take a look at this second word phrase, a number y decreased by 4 is 3. I want to write an equation to represent that word phrase. I see my variable decreased by. That's going to be the symbol or the clue for the operation. Decreased by, I think you guys recognize already, that's going to be subtraction. The word is our equal sign. So if I have the number y decreased by 4 is 3. Right? And that's my equation. Right? That's it. I have my number, my variable, my operation. I have my number, my equal sign, and circle or box your answers as always. I didn't do that with the first problem, but let me go back and circle or box my equation for that first problem. 12 times a number y, 12 times a number p equals 48. So we start with the number 12 times a number. Oops. We should use the correct variable here. They're telling us to use the variable p, so I should make sure I use the variable p. Is our equal sign 48. So I have 12 times the number p equals 48. I have an equation for my word phrase. Here's my 12. Times is represented by the multiplication symbol. The number p, that's my variable. The word equals, that's my equal sign in my equation. Then I have the number 48. Okay, here's what I want you guys to do. You should probably stop the video. You should probably try problems 1 through 4 on your own. When you finish, you would start the video again and check to see if your equations are correct. All right, so do problems 1 through 4 on your own. Stop the video and then come back and check your answers, right? But I'll continue the video now. So I'm going to extend the page. We're going to start with example 1. 9 less than a number b equals 2. Well, what clues do you see in that problem? Well, the words less than, that's going to be the operation. Okay? Equals, that's my equal sign. Right? What variable am I going to use? Oh, a number b. So those are all clues in the word phrases that we need to use and recognize in order to write the equations. Now, anytime you're writing an equation involving subtraction, you have to be very careful because it's very easy to write the equation incorrectly. All right? We know that the commutative property does not work with subtraction. So the order of our subtraction problem matters. 9 less than a number b must be written with our variable first, and then we take 9 away from that variable. Right? So check your answers with your first equation that you've written because you're very likely to make a mistake there. Okay? But I have 9 less than a number b equals 2. So there's my correct equation for problem number 1. Problem 2. Right? Look for your clue words there. What are your clues for the operation? Right? Product. Right? Is my equal sign. What variable am I going to use? G. Right? So those are all the clues that we need to see and recognize when we write our equations. Okay? So the word product means I'm going to have multiplying or multiplication, but I have G and 5. So the product of a number G and 5 is our equal sign. Right? And that has to be 30. Here's my equation. Right? I have my variable, my operation, and my numbers. Make sure you have an equal sign. It's not an equation without an equal sign. Okay? Let's check problem 3. A number k is increased by 10. Is the same as 24. All right? What clue, what operation do you think you're going to see in that that equation? What clues are you looking for? Of course, increased by. Increased by is going to be what operation? Addition, correct. So we have our variable increased by 10 is the same as 24. Right? The goal is to take this word phrase and write this word phrase using mathematics. And there's the correct equation for problem number 3. Right? Question 4. The quotient of a number q and 4 is 12. Quotient. We have to recognize the clues there. And the word quotient means what operation? Division, correct. So we have the quotient of a number q and 4. I have to write it that way. The quotient of a number q. We put our big boy and big girl pants on here and we use a fraction to model division. Is our equal sign and 12. So there's our correct equation for number 4. Now, could you have written it as q divided by 4 is 12? Yes, you could, right? But big boy, big girl pants on, 6th graders, right? And we do it this way, okay? Let's go on to a word problem, okay? After 2 rounds, 24 students are eliminated from a spelling bee. There are 96 students remaining. Write an equation you can use to find the number of students that started the spelling bee. Well, the number of students that started the spelling bee, let's call them S. The number of students that started the spelling bee is going to be equal to what? All right, why don't you guys try to do that one on your own? Give it some thought. All right, stop the video if you want for a second. All right, and then check out your equation. Well, the number of students are going to be equal to the 96 students, right, that are remaining, plus the 24 that are eliminated. Now, a lot of students are going to write the equation that way, and that's correct. But we like to learn to try to write equations that we can write and solve. All right. And another way to write that same equation would be the number of students that started, and then you take away the students that are eliminated, you're left with 96. Either one of these equations, right, are correct. But what we're trying to do, we're trying to write this equation. I'd still give you credit, for this first equation, because this first equation, you have a variable, you have an equal sign, you have some numbers here, right? And in each equation, you're going to get the same answer. But right, the second equation is what we're looking for here, okay? Okay, we have 3 more on your own problems here. So what I'd like for you guys to do, stop the video, all right? Try these problems on your own, right? And then see what check your answers, okay? So if you want to stop the video now, you can, but I'm going to continue with our answer for problem 5. You enter an elevator, all right? You go down 7 floors, you exit on the 10th floor. Write an equation you can use to find the floor where you entered the elevator. Okay? So you entered the elevator. Let's call it E. You go down 7 floors. You exit on the 10th floor. All right? This equation would give you, right, the correct answer. Well, what floor would you have started on then if you take away 7 and then you wind up on the 10th floor, right? E must be 17. Okay? But today, or with this part of the lesson, we're not trying to solve equations, we're just trying to write them for now. Question 6. Together, you and a friend have $52. Your friend has $28. Write an equation you can use to find out or find how much money you have. Okay. Your friend has 28. So you and your friend that has $28 have a total, right? Together, you have 52. Right? So that's the equation you should have written for problem 6. And if you want to know how much money you had, then, right, you can do it mathematically, but 28, 38, 48, so what are you left with? 24, I guess, right? $24 you had and your friend had 28. Okay, finally, question 7. A typical person takes about 24,000 breaths each day. That's a lot of breathing. Write an equation you can use to find the number of breaths a typical person takes each minute. The number of breaths that person takes each minute. Well, we know that there are, 24,000 breaths in a day. 24,000 breaths a day. But we need to know what? Well, how many minutes are there? Right? Because they want to know breaths per minute. Right? So we want to know how many minutes are there in a day. Wow. Well, there's 60 minutes in an hour. And then there are 24 hours in a day. And we want to know, well, write an equation you can use to find the number of breaths a person takes typically each minute. Well, 60 minutes in an hour times 24 hours, we'd have to multiply 60 times 24. We'd have to start with that to figure out how many minutes there are in a day. 4 times 0 is 0. 4 times 6 is 24. 2 times 0 is 0. 2 times 6 is 12. Doing this without a calculator. 0, 4, 4, 1. So there are 1,440. Those are minutes in a day. So I want to know how many breaths a person might take each minute. And they take 24,000 breaths each day. So we'd have to take our 24,000, 24,000 and divide that by 1,440. Let's do that. Divide by 10. So I want 144 into 2,400. All right, and that's going to be approximately 144 goes in one time. Subtract 0, 10, 6, 1, 10, 6, 0. That's going to be what? Probably 5 times. 5 times 4 is 20. 0, carry the 2. 5 times 4 is 20 plus 2 is 2. Carry the 2. 5 times 1 is 5. 2 is 7. That's too many, but it's going to be about 15, right? About 15 breaths per minute. Okay, even though this is too large, right? But even though I know that 720 is too large, I know that it's going to be about 15. It's going to be about 14 point something, 6, 7, 8, who cares, right? It's about 15. All right. Anything else with this lesson? Let me go on to the next page and see. All right. Now for one-step equations, no, we're going to stop the lesson there. Okay, so let me go back. We're going to stop the lesson there. You guys are going to work on the exercise problems and, some of the practice problems. All right, and hopefully I'll see you guys soon.